Boy, I hope I don't have to take away my body's... Yeah, here we
You
go.
don't have to take away my body's primary energy source.
It's your primary energy source if you consume it regularly, you idiot! Liam-Fischer Layton, spitting a bunch of misinformation about fiber.
You need fiber, right?
Depends.
No, it doesn't depend. Actually, you don't require fiber at all. Liam, name one requirement for fiber. Okay, there are no deficiency diseases that have been observed in any humans that have actually been studied for any duration of time that they've been studied that are associated with an abstention of fiber. None whatsoever. We can't digest it. And last I checked, if you can't digest something, you shouldn't be eating it. Every single animal that has the ability to, has an indication level for fiber, has the ability to digest it in a cecum. We have a cecum, but it's very small and has an appendix attached to it, disallowing us, preventing us from actually digesting it. It's also an anti-nutrient and sops up nutrition from us, stealing it. It's particularly soluble fiber. And it also abrades the enteric lining, which is why it's associated with an upregulation of mucus secretion. Name one instance in which mucus is upregulated in production outside of the context of an irritation to the tissue. Okay, my nose starts running because of irritation, allergens, or eating spicy food because last I checked, oh yeah, plants are toxic. And also we have not genotypically evolved to withstand most of the toxins in plants, even the ones that we've hybridized to be less immediately toxic upon consumption. Liam, so absolute Liam, it doesn't depend on anything.
About butt cancer.
Why?
How do you feel about butt cancer? So colon cancer. So he's trying to be cute and funny. What do you know about cancer, actually? Let me answer your question with a question. Do you know anything about cancer whatsoever? Do you know association doesn't equal causation? Do you know how to interpret epidemiological studies at all? Do you know that epidemiology is actually designed to be hypothesis generating and not substantive or substantive rather on its own? Do you actually understand that, Liam? Because I don't think you do at all. Because you're a moron and you're an arrogant buffoon who doesn't understand how to interpret data, doesn't understand statistics, descriptive or inferential. You don't understand nutrition. You don't understand biochemistry. You don't understand metabolism. You don't understand literally anything. You're a TikTok influencer, and so you have the brain of a TikToker. Okay? You're a moron. You know there's only two associative factors when it comes to diverticulosis, which is an outpouching or breaking down of the distal colon, which can lead to diverticulitis, infection, and early death if left untreated, which is increased fiber intake and increased bowel motions per day, since you want to actually bring up associations. Those two things being tightly intertwined for obvious reasons. The more waste you eat, the more waste you excrete. That's how that goes. Okay, check out Lee Kopus, who had his colon removed because of, ostensibly, massive amounts of fiber intake.
Many reasons.
Thought it was good for like digestion and your...
No, it's not necessarily good for digestion at all. In fact, actually, it seems to actually exacerbate constipation in the one and only study that was actually conducted in the World Journal of Gastroenterology in 2012 that even remotely tried to control for confounding variables, which actually saw an entire group ameliorate their idiopathic constipation by completely removing fiber. All 41 participants in that group. Tough to ignore, by the way. So, anyway, continue.
microbiome.
Yeah.
No, actually, not, Liam. No, not at all. Good for your gut microbiome, though. Mine? How do you know what my gut microbiome looks like? No, seriously, how do you know what my gut microbiome looks like? Do you know the composition of my gut microbiome? Really? Because last I checked, your gut microbiome adapts to the diet that you're on. So if you have gut bacteria that feed on fiber, if you transition appropriately and slowly, what happens to those bacteria is they die and then you grow new ones. And so no, it actually doesn't nourish my gut bacteria. It's not good for my gut microbiome, you moron. You're an offensive moron, Liam. Continue.
Definitely.
What is it?
No, not definitely. So you're just agreeing, you're just corroborating what he's saying with no evidence to back your claims. That's an opinion.
Again, a lot of...
So she says, what does it do? I hate reacting to these reels. I really do. These fast-paced reels. So I have to read the text on the screen. She says, well, what does it do? And Liam says, again, a lot of things. Yeah, it does a lot of things. It ferments into nasty byproducts like aldehydes and alcohol. And the things that are purported to be beneficial that it actually ferments into, you get the exact same benefits on in a carnivore diet whenever you are in a ketogenic state with one of the primary ketone bodies that are actually producing ketosis being beta-hydroxybutyrate, which is used systemically, by the way, as a double whammy against this argument, instead of in a focal part of the small intestine. Okay, Liam? You moron.
things, just like so many.
Right, so high fiber and less chance of constipation. Chance can't be informed upon because chance is synonymous with probability, and probability is a prediction model. It is not something that can actually be unequivocally and definitively informed upon. Okay, you can't anticipate the future. You can't predict the future. You're talking about an association, not a causation, so not chance. Again, I was not in the study, so you can't inform upon my chance of anything, not to mention ecological fallacy. Even if risk was able to be informed upon in a study, if the overall risk of the population was a certain percentage, that doesn't mean that that percentage can be applied to each individual person in the study. That's not how that works. That is an example of the division fallacy. What is true of the whole is true of parts. Nonsense, Liam. Healthy weight and fiber. Oh, really? So healthy weight according to whom on the basis of what? And also, what is that weight made up of? And also, fiber is another association. Fiber consumption, reported fiber consumption is another association with what's considered healthy weight by criteria that have not been specified. That does not mean that fiber plays a causal role. And also, even if it does that mean that you can't get the exact same effect of fiber in that respect that you can with a carnivore diet? Doesn't mean you can't do that with a carnivore diet to a greater and less and more innocuous degree, without abrading the interior lining and stuff like that. High fiber and low cholesterol. So more associations. Low cholesterol, that's another that begs a question as to whether cholesterol is actually an independent risk factor of heart disease, which it isn't, because cholesterol will not end up in arteries unless you're genetically abnormal and therefore will probably die before your teenage years, and also have actual damage to your arteries. Okay, damage to arteries is actually the cause of heart disease. Bowel health and fiber, right, so I don't even really need to read that. And then high fiber diet and something, and lifestyle. Good. I think that's what it says. Oh, lifespan. Right, so more epidemiological longitudinal nonsense with no ability to actually interpret any of it, Liam. You have no ability to interpret the difference between relative and absolute outcome statistics, because if you did, you realize how nonsensical and lacking in utility these studies actually are, Liam. Okay, you have no ability to understand multivariate regression and the adjustment of variables in epidemiology. You have no ability to discern between association and causation. You have no ability to actually understand publication bias. You have no ability to understand arbitrary selection criteria that's involved with the construction of meta-analyses when it comes to longitudinal analyses like this, because that's a problem. You have no ability to understand the extrapolative limits of science in the first place. You have no clue what you're talking about. None at all. Okay? Because if you did understand, for example, even just converting relative outcomes into absolute outcome statistics, you'd realize that actually most of these increases in percentages or decreases in percentages of risk and chance are in the tenths or hundredths of thousandths of chances, so incidence, of death per person per year of follow-up. Liam, you are an idiot. Talk to me face-to-face about science. Why don't you? Seriously. You have no idea what you're talking about. You're a moron. Or just do a TikTok on me. I invite you. You're welcome for the content. You're welcome for the material.
A lot of people tell me that it.
So again, Liam, you're just flashing a bunch of things up on the screen. You're just a moron. You don't even know what you're reading. Okay. Fibers, so some people tell me that what?
Prevents glucose going into the blood.
It prevents some glucose actually from even entering the bloodstream in the first place. Mostly what it does is it prevents the spiking of glucose. Yes, but you can get that effect from fat and protein, but also you can get that effect by not consuming glucose. Can't wait to hear what Liam has to say, because I know that that's actually what this professor, I cannot for the life of me remember her name. I know she's very well renowned. Okay. You can chastise me on not knowing her name. Trust me, it's well deserved. I for some reason do not know her name. Come on, I gotta know her name. It's Georgia Eid. Yes. Okay, see, I told you, I knew. So yeah, that's only as concern whenever you consume glucose, but I know that's actually what she says because this clip went viral a while back. So, okay.
Yes, that's one of them. Soluble
Yes, great.
fiber does help you control blood sugars.
But also what helps you control blood sugars the most is not consuming it, because last I checked, the exact requirement for carbohydrates in the human diet in any stage post-weaning is absolutely zero under every single circumstance, any single circumstance that you can find yourself in, okay? What really matters is how frequently our genes most evolved to genotypically withstand glucose consumption, more so than the actual requirement exogenously for it, because requirement puts into question requirement for thriving or requirement for survival. And that frequency was extremely minimal, because if I folded you up like a Looney Tunes, like a ball, like Looney Tunes, and I drop kick you into the wild, into a forest. Good luck finding simple carbohydrates to eat. Done.
Glucose coming from?
Literally any carbohydrate that you eat, and if you
Yeah, Liam, obviously, you idiot. Yes, no, Liam. No, Liam. Obviously. That's if you eat it.
eat those, your body will make glucose from other macronutrients that
Yeah, and then there's no reason to consume the fiber because then, what are you blunting? Nothing, because you're not consuming it, you idiot.
That's how vitally important glucose is.
Yeah, exactly. It's required in literally every single organism besides a select few as observed. It's actually critical for their function or else they would die without it. It's the entire reason I'm able to talk to you. It's the entire reason my brain's able to function. That doesn't mean that we should be consuming it. You'd probably say the same damn thing about cholesterol in large quantities, you absolute idiot.
Don't need it.
We have a lot of half-truths in our minds about food.
I wonder.
Yes, exactly. Also, things that aren't food, by the way, Georgia, and I'm sure that you would agree with that. So, I wonder why that could be. What?
That could be. Could it be people chatting on podcasts?
If you're eating a
Yeah, and also on TikTok. So some things are actually said that's truthful, and some things are said that aren't truthful. Cool. If you're eating what?
carbohydrate diet, fiber can
Or any carbohydrate.
soften your glucose spikes, and that's a plus. But there's a more effective way to lower your glucose spikes is to not get a glucose spike in the first place.
Exactly. And how do you get a glucose spike? By consuming glucose.
May not require taking all the carbohydrate out of your diet.
Boy, I hope.
But it may not require getting all of it, but you probably should. But Georgia was being anodyne on purpose and strategically, okay? Boy, I hope I don't have to take away my body's... Yeah, here we
You
go.
don't have to take away my body's primary energy source.
It's your primary energy source if you consume it regularly, you idiot! It's not mine! Did you know that?
Might just mean lowering it to your personal tolerance.
Awesome.
Or just lowering it to 0, because that's actually what your body is most genotypically evolved to withstand, which is 0 grams, okay? So, Georgia, that's not a dig at you. I'm just in a, I'm in a mood right now because Liam is very offensive towards you, by the way, but just in general, okay? One thing to be arrogant and correct, another thing to be arrogant and wrong. Liam, face me. And I mean it. Face me face to face. You're a coward. You're an absolute imbecile that thinks that you are the man of the world. You have a God complex with respect to your intellect because you're on TikTok. That's your demographic that engages with you. I mean, on Instagram too. I mean, 15.9 thousand likes on this reel.
You know what my personal tolerance is? About half my calories, which is
Nope, because you don't actually consume calories, you idiot. You don't understand what a calorie is. You don't understand the laws of thermodynamics, particularly the first one. You don't understand what the actual formula is because it's not a literary, it's not actually a written thing. There's a literary interpretation of it, but it's actually a formula. You don't know how to interpret that formula. You don't know what the formula is. You don't actually know the implications of that in human diet. You have no idea what you're talking about. You're an imbecile. Again, face me, talk to me face to face. You won't do it.
recommended by not only the United States, but basically all.
Oh, really? It's recommended by the authorities. Yeah, appeal to authority fallacy. That's not a fallacy for, like, no reason, right? That's a fallacy for no reason, right? Cool. Yeah. So, appeal to authority fallacy. Have they gotten things wrong before in the past? Have they gotten better? Imbecile.
Europe as well.
Oh, yeah, I don't care what has been the associated result of that. Because that's really all we care about, isn't it, Liam? Unless you're a propagandist.
I just,
Oh, yeah, just... I just don't know how to make an argument, so I'm just going to be emotive on camera. Again, one thing to be emotive and actually make arguments that are based in reality and based in, objective fact. It's another thing to be emotive without actually espousing any arguments and just flashing things up on the screen that you probably didn't read beforehand. Again, imbecilic, asinine, inane, imbecilic, moron. Did I say imbecilic? Should I say it again? Imbecilic.
one of the things that absolutely boils my piss.
That's really funny. You should probably say more things that are really absurd because that's really funny. I remember thinking that was funny in middle school. Glad to know that that's what gets a kick out of your audience, by the way, is middle school mentality, short attention span, Homo sapiens.
people telling you that you need to eliminate or limit carbs in
You don't need to do anything, actually, Liam. You can do whatever the you want. What we say, if we're actually sensible people in this space, because we are, Liam, is that the exact requirement is 0. The absolute frequency to which our genes were exposed to such a large amount of carbohydrates, or really in any significant amount whatsoever, above 0, is hardly ever, except during fruit season, so very ephemeral, very transient parts of the season, okay, in vastly different forms than we actually see today, all right, and it served a purpose of making us fat for the winter, which is what it does with every single animal. That's what we say, okay? That's actually what we say. And according to the Darwinian principles of evolution and the subsequent principles of indication, we are designed to continue living an indicated lifestyle, which is predicated on what our genes most evolved to genotypically withstand. What is the most recent amount of time sufficient enough to have caused full genotypic adaptations to our genome across our species, broadly? Well, it's a hypercarnivorous diet. Done, Liam, and we'll get to that. I mean, really, we want to be fast-paced like this. We want to be super fast-paced and talk super fast because that's what Liam wants to do. Well, then we're going to have to sacrifice some bits of information. Liam, if you're so curious, or if you, my dear viewer, I haven't forgotten about you. If you are curious, binge my videos, buy my book, Contraindicated. Liam, you should probably buy it as well. You should definitely buy it. A closer look and revision of mainstream health axioms that have perpetuated illness, disorder, and disease for over a century. If you have not bought that book already, second edition is out now. Link in the description below for paperback, hardcover, ebook, and self-narrated audiobook edition, because I'm all about authenticity. Okay, cool.
to be healthy.
Well, no, you don't need to do that in order to be healthy, because healthy is exhibiting health, which is the absence of disease process. You don't need to eliminate carbs to eliminate or have an absence of disease process. No one has said that. And if they are saying that, that's technically false. What we're saying is to get to your maximum genotypic potential, you might want to consider living an indicated lifestyle according to the Darwinian principles of evolution. You idiot. Good.
I think I'm gonna go eat a banana and mow the lawn to calm down.
Well, that's great. I don't really care. Okay? Cool. I would love if you just stopped talking. So frankly, I would encourage you to do that. Eat 2 bananas while you're at it. I don't care.
Okay, bye.
Right. So not funny at all.
Much better.
Much better. Good. Cool. Well, with that being said, Liam, again, you won't face me face to face because you'll be obliterated, and you know it. You have no arguments to stand on. You just know how to say K-bye, K-bye, and also I just can't. I just can't do it. I can't. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like. Subscribe if you haven't already. That includes you, Liam. Catch up with what I'm doing. If you haven't subscribed to me yet, you're missing out. You're welcome for reminding you. Hit the bell notification as well. You're welcome for reminding you to do that too. Leave your thoughts in the comment section below. Again, buy my book if you haven't already, Contraindicated. Also, subscribe to the Patreon if you haven't already to gain access to 1 week early uploads, ad-free content, uncensored content, loads of antiquated videos that precede my public appearance. That's fun. Loads of Patreon exclusive uploads whenever I was doing such a thing per week. And also an exclusive Discord server if that's something that you're interested in. Little freebie in there, but also not free. It's for tier 3 members. And also, the link on the bottom of the screen. What is that link? Well, that is a link that will bring you to an amazing site with amazing products from an amazing brand known as Cerule. If you purchase product through that link, you will get a permanent percentage discount and permanent free shipping when signing up for monthly deliveries. And if you email me behind the scenes at edgoki@pm.me, I can tell you how to earn those products for free, because who in their right mind wouldn't want that? But of course, before buying any products whatsoever, of course, I wouldn't recommend doing that at all until you actually learn about them. So don't buy them until you refer to the link in the top right corner of the screen, a Cerule Products video, which is a complete video elucidation and explanation of what these products are, who should take them, why you should take them, yes, you, and when to take them, etc., etc. And I would also further migrate to the description below to find a video that I did on these products in further detail, as well as the company of Cerule itself, which I think is incredibly important if you're willing to make a contribution towards the company via a purchase. So, with that being said, join me next time when we're reacting to people that are not more arrogant than Liam-Fischer Layton, and not more brain dead than Liam-Fischer Layton. So, till then.